We are delighted to be speaking to co-heads of school at the Garzón School in Uruguay, Leona Dauphin and Sam Irving. Uniquely, these heads of school share responsibility for whole school goals, but divide accountability and have demonstrated that collective leadership is effective and it may be the way of the future. Welcome, Sam and Leona.
Thank you, Claire, for having us.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us. So to start, could you briefly introduce yourselves and describe your joint roles as school leaders?
I'll begin. My name's Sam. I'm actually originally from the United Kingdom, from York. I've been living in Uruguay for 7 years now. I have a background that kind of bridged two completely distinct worlds. The first one being homeschooling. I was a homeschool teacher for 7 years, and latterly moved into working in international schools. And about 3 years ago now, I started working on the Garzón School project, which in so many ways is kind of a beautiful hybrid of those two worlds. So I lead the school alongside Leona, and I also have a teaching role at the school with our 3rd and 4th grade classes.
Wonderful.
My name is Leona. I'm from the Netherlands. I've been working in international education for 20 years now. So I originally started as a primary school teacher, and for the last 8 years, most of my work has been in a leadership role, mainly working on curriculum development, curriculum alignment.
Mm-hmm.
I moved to Uruguay a little over a year and a half ago, I'd say. And I joined this project to be co-head with Sam. And in the school, I mostly work on program development, curriculum development, because we are designing our own curriculum in the school. I also have accountability for finances, budgets, policies, and yeah. And then there's a lot of overlap between the responsibilities that we share.
Yeah, I imagine. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through, because it must be that unique balance of having these distinct roles, but always kind of leaning on each other. So the school opened in 2022. How was the decision made to appoint 2 leaders rather than 1?
Well, I think Leona kind of touched on it in her answer a little bit there. I mean, any head of school around the world, and we've met many of them, will tell you it is a huge role, and you are expected to be an expert in every area of school life, whether that be finances, in the classroom, marketing, you name it, you have to be the know-it-all. And the truth is, and every head of school will tell you this as well, that no one person has such breadth and depth of knowledge as to be a successful and effective sole school head. And we had the added challenge here at the Garzón School as well, that we decided quite early on that we did not want to operate an off-the-shelf curriculum. Mm-hmm. We wanted to build our own. We're a very unique school in an extremely special setting, and we believe that the curriculum needed to reflect that. And so if you add into that as well the responsibility on the head of school to design a bespoke curriculum, there's just not enough hours in the week to accomplish everything and to do it with the quality it deserves. And so we kind of recognized fairly early on that this is just not one person's job. This is, the job of 2 people, but who have a very complementary skill set. Yeah,
I think there was just a lot of time that went into daily operations, and it didn't leave enough time to do that big picture thinking and that development. And this is also not something you do in a bubble, so you need to be very collaborative and meeting many different people. And if you're constantly being drawn into, well, there's parent meetings, or there's an issue with something with facilities, or it just doesn't leave a lot of time for that. So I think there's a lot of credit there also to our board of directors in recognizing that and going, we are willing to make this investment, and we're going to find a very complementary pair that can work that out together.
Yeah, and that must be, you know, a real part of this is you two really complementing each other in these roles as you work through your vision for what you're doing next. And so how did you establish a clear vision in what you wanted to do? Did you both have an idea of what you wanted the school to look like? How did they put you together?
I think general overall vision for the school and what we want to create here is not just us. This is very much a community project. So parents that opted in and helped build this community had a very strong voice there. Our board of directors again also sought out a lot of advisors from with an educational background, and we kind of all sat together there and went, okay, we're building, let's say, our 5-year strategic plan here of where we want to go. And I think for the first 4-5 months that we worked together, we weren't very specific in the division of our roles. It was more daily operations, very much Sam, the programming and curriculum and the structure behind it, very much me. And then we gave it a few months of time before we got back together again and went, okay, now we're going to very clearly say, in our strategic plan, this is where we want to go, and this person is accountable for it. And this is another step we want to take in our strategic planning, and this person is accountable for it. So we really took time to see, okay, like, we knew overall where our responsibilities were, but really fine tune, like, what are your areas of expertise and what are mine, and what accountability are we going to take on. That developed over a few months, and that was intentionally done that way. But it's very much a community project, and everything we develop is developed with our team and with input from our parents and from the board.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on what Leona said too. That process was allowed to happen organically by design, and I would say that's fundamental in any co-headship relationship, because we were very quickly, you know, became acquainted with each other, knew each other's strengths and weaknesses, and were able to kind of hash out our accountability areas based on, you know, that knowledge. If you were recruiting, you know, 2 complete strangers with very determined areas of accountability, it would probably end up in disaster. So having that organic lead-in is essential. We often talk here a lot with our board as well about clear accountability and shared responsibility. So it's not that we have our 2 separate kingdoms that we kind of work in parallel channels on. If there's something that happens operationally that's, you know, a serious issue at the school, I will, you know, and I don't have all the time or resources to manage it on my own. I'll say to Leona, could I borrow you, or could I sense check this with you? And likewise for Leona, if there's you know, a budgetary concern that's troubling her, you know, we'll sit together and we'll take shared responsibility for the successful management of the school. Yeah.
And in terms of, I think, hiring, and this is again back to our board, they were very clear, I'd say, in what they wanted for the school, and they really went out of their way to find people that matched with that. So Sam's been with the project right from the beginning. I was onboarded later. But it was very much between us to see, okay, can we work together? Is this collaboration working? Do we have the same, let's say, core values when it comes to education? If had that not been the case, then I wouldn't have accepted the job, and he wouldn't have, you know, green lighted. So like, yes, this is a person I think it'll work.
Yeah.
It's funny, and in many ways it's kind of it's like a professional marriage. That you need that kind of constant communication, but within a relationship you have areas of strength and weakness, and you need that partner to be fully familiar with those areas of strength and weakness. And you know, we are very conscious about carving out the time on a weekly basis to sit down, what's going well, what could be going better. And I think that's something unique to the co-headship model as well, because in a more traditional sole leadership model, you get very few people within a school organization who are willing to tell a head of school what they're doing wrong and where they should be doing better. So we have that kind of increased accountability in front of each other on a level footing as well.
Yeah, it really sounds like a relationship that you've worked hard at, but also quite a collaborative relationship then with your wider body, with your parents and with your school board. So kind of talking about that marriage, it's also that output from others as well, kind of looking in and providing support as well. So a really interesting model that you're using, and you've touched on a little bit about your roles and how you check in with each other, but that leads me really nicely into our next question, because I was going to ask you about trust, because it's crucial in any leadership position, but especially in a partnership. So how have you built and maintained trust between yourselves and your school community?
I think communication is obviously a big one. If egos get too big, and you might be, if you're not open to feedback or any critical conversation, that's going to be a non-starter. But for me, the trust building, I think over time is mostly down to the quality of output. Like, Sam is so good at what he does, and once you see that, and it's again confirmed and confirmed and confirmed, you can just relax and go, okay, that is on his plate, and I know it's going to be done well. And if there's any hesitation, anything that's not clear, I know that he will come and go, hey, could you have a look at this, or can we just talk about this, because I'm not sure. So we really learn to lean on each other when it's needed, and we've also shown, I think, each other and our communities, like, what we do, we've chosen to take on this specific part because we know this is where I shine. And just having that confirmed over and over and over is a beautiful place to be, because you could just you can ease into it.
And I think the second part of that is about facing adversity together. I think for me that was really fundamental. Any school is going to have, you know, the multiple and multifaceted challenges, and some of them are kind of easily dealt with, and other ones are kind of more institutionally serious. And you have many stakeholders involved in any school setting. So Leona and I have been in meetings where we've kind of been on the back foot and in adverse situations, and had to have each other's back. And, you know, walking out of that meeting, as unpleasant and difficult as the meeting may have been at the time, you know, we walk out of there with Leona knowing that I've got her back no matter what happens, and I know Leona's got my back no matter what happens. And I think that trust is just a fundamental part of us working together.
Yeah. Oh, it's wonderful to hear. So now you opened in 2022, we're now in 2024, and you're starting your new academic year. What lessons have you learned then from your kind of initial start to where you are now? What are you taking forward into 2024?
I think communication, transparent and honest communication, and lots of it, lots. We are very visual people around the school. We're at the school gate every single morning. We say good morning to every student that arrives. We have a chat with every single family that's here, and we try to share as much as we possibly can. We ask for feedback from our community, and from that feedback we've learned that maybe some areas where we thought, like, oh, we're already being very communicative and sharing very much, there was definitely a question for more communication. So I think for me, that's always keep communicating your progress on a large scale and on a day-to-day scale. Like for parents in a school community, there's no such thing as too much information. So for us, that's, I think, a big one.
Yeah, and the other one, which applies to both of us, maybe it's been more pertinent in the past in my own role, is kind of maintaining work-life balance. Now, any head of school is going to tell you that balance is rarely there.
Mhm.
But I mean, we're a startup school. We opened, as you mentioned, in 2022. We wear a lot of hats, Leona, as much as I do, and just kind of keeping track of your own kind of personal well-being, which is another reason why it's actually so good to have a co-head of school alongside you. You can have that personal check-in that accompanies the professional check-in, just making sure everybody's kind of staying sane and as the school year goes on, because it's an intense role.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it must be very easy as in a startup to think, well, we just have to put this work in now and take on more and more and more. And actually, before you know it, you've just got too much and it's overwhelming. And that's absolutely a recipe for burnout. So yeah, checking in with each other is so important.
No, we are here. We're the first people in the school every single morning. We have a cup of coffee together. We go through our day. We're like, okay, where do you need me? Or some days it's like, okay, I'm gonna run this one by myself. See you at the end of the day. But it's very good to have that.
Yeah. And so what have been some of the real successes of the Garzón School? Do you think we're going to see more co-headships in the future?
I'll start by kind of saying one thing that I don't feel we have addressed so far in this conversation that I think is a real victory of the co-headship in particular, is that we as a school expect our students to collaborate. We expect our students to take accountability but shared responsibility. We expect it of all our staff as well. And if you don't model that at a leadership level, it becomes almost hypocritical to expect it of all the school stakeholders. So I think one really positive thing for me that's come out of this is children, a whole generation of children growing up seeing that leadership is about collaboration and communication and accountability, rather than this kind of, solitary figure who seems inaccessible. And I think that's it's an everyday impact, but I think the cumulative effect of that impact is quite significant.
Yeah, that's a really interesting insight. I think that a lot of people would say that they think of their leadership team, they think of their headship when they were younger, and they would think of one figure, and actually
that one person.
How wonderful to see that collaboration and to be able to model that.
I mean, having two heads, is better than one. There's more knowledge, there's more thought that goes into the decision making. We're never going to act on impulse. We can always first cross-reference and sense check. So there's more time and thinking that goes into the decision making, and I think it leaves less room for error in that way. I think Sam mentioned earlier, as a head of school, you're expected to be your team manager, the human resources, the business manager, an educator, a communicator, a mediator, like all of that. And I think if you divide that skill set, or if you have like very matching and complementary skill sets, the outcome for your school is just a better product, because I don't have to muddle through things that are not within my skill set, because I have someone that does that really, really well. So I think that's the main thing. I also think maybe the co-headship model works really well for intentionally small schools, which we are and will maintain. If you're in a very big school, then you have your admin team is so extensive, and there's a lot of work that a head of school can go, okay, your responsibility, I do the oversight. Intentionally small school, we are forced to have many hats that we wear, and our admin team right now consists of 4 people. But there's so much that is our responsibility, and by having a complementary skill set, I think the outcome is just stronger, better, less room for error.
Yeah, yeah. And so with that in mind, what does the future hold for the Garzón School?
Ooh, it's bright.
There's a lot happening at the moment.
Yeah.
We're not going to be unemployed for a long time, put it that way. Our days and weeks and years tend to fill themselves rather too quickly. So I mean, the biggest thing on the horizon for us, without a doubt, that we've been putting hours and hours of work into, is our campus. We're moving to a purpose-built campus in late 2024. It's fully designed by Rosanne Bosch, who's a Dutch architect based in Copenhagen in Denmark. She referred to our project as the jewel in the crown of her career, which is, you know, spectacular for us because she's done some incredible schools around the world in not only Latin America, North America, Europe, and Asia as well. So we've broken ground already on the campus, and we're expecting the first classes to be around July, August 2024. So for us, you know, to finally be home as a school is exceptionally exciting. I think as much as it is for us, it's for the student and parent body as well.
Yeah. And then 2025, we'll be opening our secondary school. So right now, primary, we have kids going into our grade 6, which is here still primary, and in 2025 opening that middle school department as well. I think if we talk about the future of our school, I think that's as far as we can envision now. If we want to talk about the long-term future of our school and everything we intend to bring to this region in terms of education, we need to schedule another one of these chats.
It sounds like you're doing a lot already. Moving campus and then opening your first middle school, that's a lot on the horizon. So incredible things happening. How exciting. Oh, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. It's been fascinating to learn more about your leadership model and the positive impact that's having for your school community. Is there anything else that you wanted to say that you didn't get an opportunity to say?
I'd say we're very open to collaboration, other intentionally small schools out there. We love connecting. So please do feel free to reach out.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you so much. You can learn more about the Garzón School online, and you can also find Sam and Leona's piece that they wrote previously when they first opened on ISN. Thank you.